live racing from Saratoga. The first two races at Saratoga, that is where we will be covering live. So here on the last quarter, we're going to be covering the first two races at Saratoga. We're also going to be talking about a little bit about the Del Mar races for this weekend, as well as the major graded stakes races from Del Mar and Saratoga, which we see this weekend featuring champion Songbird and Dubai World Cup winner California Chrome. So let's look at some of those stakes races going across the country. What do we have going on this weekend? So this weekend, Saturday, July 22nd, we will have two big grade races at Saratoga. The Grade 1 Diana and the Grade 3 Sanford Stakes. For the 2-year-olds, the Diana is on the turf for 3-year-olds and up fillies, mares, in a very good field. We see the return of Miss Temple City. Monmouth Park joining the mix. They have a Grade 3 event in the Jersey Shore, while Del Mar has the San Diego Handicap and the San Clemente Handicap, both Grade 2 races. San Diego Handicap featuring California Chrome and Dortmund. As for Sunday, the Coaching Club American Oaks is the feature race across the country. The Grade 1 race is featuring many great 3-year-old fillies, including Queen Mia, but of course being topped by champion Songbird. Monmouth Park also has another grade race, and that's the Grade 3 Boiling Springs, while Del Mar has the Cougar the Second Handicap and the California Dream, which is not a grade stakes. So Del Mar and Saratoga are the two highlights of this weekend, but we're going to start with the Spy. It's opening weekend at Saratoga, the first true Saturday of the summer. Saratoga is opening. And they have a very good card today on tap, 11 races. We're going to start out with a claiming race, 3-year-olds and up, 6.5 furlongs on the dirt. There's going to be 6 runners here. So 6 go in the first race. Then second race, maiden special weight, $83,000 is the purse, and that's for 2-year-olds going 8.5 furlongs on the turf, and a good field of 10. This is after scratches. But race 3 is the early feature, and that's the Sanford Stakes, and it's going to be the third leg of the early pick 5, which I will have a ticket for you. So we have an early pick 5 going. And then, of course, later in the card is the Grade 1 Diana in race 10, and that's 9 furlongs on the turf, 10 going in that Group 1 race. So some scratches and changes for you for today's card. Scratch the 4 in the first race. In the second race, scratch the 9, 10, 13, and 14. There are no scratches in the third race. In the fourth race, scratch the 6. The fifth race, scratch the 1, 4, 7, and 9. The rail will be at 12 feet. Going in the sixth race, we have to scratch the 11. In the 7th race, scratch the 5, and the rail is set at 12 feet. In the 8th, scratch the 4. There are no scratches in the 9th, no scratches in the 10th, but the rail is set at 12 feet. And race 11, scratch the 8 and the 12. So there's your scratches and changes for Saratoga's card today. There are no jockey changes whatsoever. We have 12 minutes to post until the first race. Just so you can follow along, I will be using the Naira.com stream on my iPad. I believe it's a couple seconds off of live racing from TVG, but I'm going to be using that. I will have TVG queued up on my TV so that if they do go off before this live stream, I will stop talking beforehand. But I'm going to be using the Naira.com stream as my major source of live action. They're currently walking around the beautiful trees in the paddock of Saratoga. So let's start off with some Saratoga racing. What's on the betting card for today? And the betting card today is actually a pretty good one. The pick 5, as always, starts in race 1 with the early pick 4 starting in race 2. There will be rolling pick 3s throughout the whole entire card. But the major one that you have to work with is the late pick 4, a $500,000 guarantee, and that starts in race 8. So a $500,000 guarantee, late pick 4, $500,000. You want to be in this late pick 4, which features the Grade 1 Diana. And the card, the early pick 5, the pick 5 and the early pick 4 are pretty hittable. Outside of maybe the first 2 races, it's not a very difficult early card. It's the late 6 that are going to be really difficult. The pick 6 and the pick 4s are going to be tough. They put a lot of horses in those last couple races, as they should. So if you hit one of those, should easily pay 4, if not 5 digits easily. And getting that $500,000 guarantee in the late pick 4 is huge value. So we're going to go on to the first race of the day, Saratoga race 1, 11 minutes to post. And this is a field of 6, scratch the 4, Benny and Alex. So we're going to scratch the 4, Benny and Alex. 6.5 furlongs, claiming $25,000 non-winners of 2 lifetime for 3-year-olds and up. And so they're going to start just off the chute. It's going to be a 1 turn, 6.5 furlongs as usual. And the current favorite at 9-5 is Zamjara for John Velasquez and Todd Pletcher. A third last time out, an allowance 55 at Belmont, going 1 mile and a 16th. So turning back in distance. Does show a lot of early speed. Last win was at 7 furlongs at Gulfstream Park. Gulfstream Park is very different than here. Gulfstream Park is a very fast highway. So any racing at Gulfstream Park, any speed horse on Gulfstream Park should win there if they get a clear lead. And this horse got a nice, easy length lead, just set the pace and was never challenged. Then stepping into Allowance Company, it went to Belmont on the turf. Wasn't a bad effort, but a pretty even shot when it allowed length to 2 lengths behind for the whole entire time, but never really closed any distance. Then got John Velasquez for the first time at Belmont on June 23rd, going that mile and a 16th. Showed early speed, led throughout, and then just weakened. So the cutback in distance should help this Todd Pletcher trainee. Then you look at the 2, Dr. Lubar's Kiss, a pretty long shot, sitting at 8-1. It was just well beaten last time out. Could show more, maybe switched on to dirt. But the last time on dirt, beaten by 21 lengths. The time before that show did show early speed. So it's not out of the blue for this horse to win, but just doesn't seem to be up to the mark here. Todd Pletcher has the 3 Money Changer. Gets Javier Castellano aboard. And just tries to get there, but runs very even efforts. Been bouncing around turf, dirt, trying different distances. They're still trying to find a good spot for this horse. Today, probably not going to be the day for this one. So we scratch the 4, Benny and Alex. We move on to the 5, Battle Midway, who was well beaten last time out. Finally dropping in class and dropping in distance back to 6.5 furlongs, which raced back at Keeneland on April 20th. Was about an even effort, making some ground up late, and then dead heated for 4th. The last real good effort out of him was a long time ago. Saratoga did race at Saratoga last July, was 4th, but well beaten 9 1/4 lengths. The outside, the 6th for John Toscano Jr. and Irad Ortiz Jr. is Roman Revival, off a very long layoff, hasn't raced since Aqueduct. Hoping to race well here. And this layoff may help, but he's a tire and fade type, this 4-year-old gelding, a Fusaichi Pegasus runner. And so I don't usually like horses that show speed and tire running at Saratoga. I think it's just going to be a very poor effort from this horse. Sitting at 7-1 on the line right now, so it looks like the public is thinking the same thing. On the 4 outside, a Fleet Martini for Jason Service, who had a very good day yesterday. Manuel Franco goes aboard for the 5th straight time. And that they've been running 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and then 1st. And the last one, jumping up from maiden claiming type, has a lot of speed early and could be able to get that early lead. So the question in this race, as we went through the whole entire field, is who will be on the early lead? Last year, of the 36 races run at 6.5 furlongs, 36% of them were won going wire to wire. 39% of them were won near the front, and 30% of them were won from post 4 or greater. Now, that was last year. This year, most of the sprinting winners were within 2 lengths throughout the early part of the race. I think it will hold again today, so I'm not too worried. I'm going to go with that and go with an outside sprinter for this 6.5 furlongs. My pick in this race, a Fleet Martini. Fleet Martini is on the outside for Jason Service. It's been sitting and waiting for this spot. They raced last at May 26th at Belmont. So now off a little layoff coming into Saratoga, trying the same exact distance once again. So a Fleet Martini moves up off a very strong maiden claiming 40 win last time out and meets a field where a lot of them are just searching for the right spot. This horse has more speed than most of the field and likes being towards the outside in its races. So I'm going to go with a Fleet Martini, and I like a Fleet Martini a lot to beat the foes that he's facing here, even over the favorite Zamjora. So I have a trifecta play here, a cheap one. I'm going to go with the 7 horse, a Fleet Martini on top here, and then I'm going to put underneath Zamjora in the second spot and Roman Revival with them. So those two will be sitting in the second spot, and then in the third I'm going to put those two once again, but also Dr. Luber's Kiss and Battle Midway. I'm thinking Money Changer, probably not going to be today. Money Changer, a little bit of a digression, even though going on the tote board at 5-2. So that's my trifecta play for the day. A 50-cent trifecta, $4. You could put it in for $1 for 8. I don't care. Put it in for $10, make it an $80 trifecta. It could work. Wouldn't recommend it, but I'm not going to say to wager a lot of money on any plays. Wager what you're comfortable with, but should be a good time here. The trifecta play of the race: 7 over the 1, 6 over the 1, 2, 5, and 6. And with it being an early pick 5 right now in the pool, $329,032 in that early pick 5, I will throw together a ticket. I have a $48 ticket heading into this race. I'm going with the 1 and the 7. While I have the 7 on top of my trifecta, I'm going to use the 1 for coverage just in case. In race 2, I'm going to have the 2 and the 5 on top. Those are my 2 top plays in that race. Conquest, Sure Shot, the 2, and Oscar Performance, my top pick, the 5. Going into the third race, the Sanford Stakes, I'm going to single random walk. Going into the fourth race, I like the 1 Condominium on the rail, 3 Chomsky with Irad Ortiz Jr., the 5 Black Doblin, who's actually a pretty good price, but very live here coming into Saratoga. The 7, Only the Shadow Knows for Eric Consell, and sitting morning line of 5-2. And then the 8, Come As You Are for Wesley Ward, and the 9, Greyjoy, Rockport Harbor for Javier Castellano, sitting at 8-1. As for the 5th race, there I'm going to be using the 6 and the 10. The 6, Tappet Wicket, 10-1 for Steve Amuson and Irad Ortiz Jr., representing Winchell Thoroughbreds. So this Tappet, called by Harlan's Holiday, I'm going to use in the 5th, as well as Court, who I think Court is very, very, very difficult to beat in this race. I'm going to use him, and so it's altogether a $48 ticket that will be available. A dollar pick 5 for $48. The pool currently sitting at $382,000 and $396,000. So $382,000, $396,000 is the pool currently in this pick 5. 3 minutes to post, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about this race going back. And so I really like Fleet Martini here. Fleet Martini, probably the speed early, coming from the outside, sitting right now at 3-1. While the move up in class definitely is going to be tough, it's the only horse moving up in class. A lot of them are coming some from higher, some from this class. This is the only horse that's moving up in class, but won last time very well on the front end after a little bit of a troubled trip. It was bumped at the break and then just straightened out, and Manuel Franco had him moving. I'm going to go with him again. Hot connection with Jason Service. And the speed does pay off in these sprint races at Saratoga. So I think if Fleet Martini can get there, while yes, Zamjara is probably the class of this field and could easily just wire over, been having a little bit of trouble of showing speed and weakening. Should have beat last time out that allowance 55 field. Drops in class from allowance 55 to claiming 25. That's a pretty big drop going from that ranks, but you are going to Saratoga, so I'm going to say that a claiming race isn't too far off from an allowance race at Belmont, especially a late allowance race at Belmont. That was June 23rd. Also coming from longer distances, hasn't sprinted since May 6th at Gulfstream Park. Gulfstream Park sprints are very different. If Zamjara wins, I won't be surprised. We're talking about Todd Pletcher here and John Velasquez. They're hot. They could easily win, but they didn't have a very good start to the meet yesterday, so they're going to try to boost that up and go well here. The horse that I left out was Money Changer. I'm not going to use Money Changer here. Drops, yes, a drop in class. That's probably why sitting at 5-2 right now on the tote board. but I just don't think this horse is really fast enough to get to that lead and hold on. Third start off a layoff, might recover. Did show some class running last year. Did go and almost win a race at Saratoga, lost by a nose on August 20th. They're approaching the gate. They're going to start loading up soon, so I'm just going to wrap up quickly before this race goes off. Going to Battle Midway, the 5, some value here, coming from allowance 55, another one that's dropping in class, but also going from longer distances. If this horse can show some speed, can sit off the early pace. This horse did run in some stakes company last year, the Curlin at Saratoga, as well as the Smarty Jones and Pennsylvania Derby at Parks. So does have some stake company in his running lines and was supposed to show a lot of talent. Has weakened, but we're going to see what he does. And they're off. Here's Larry Comas. Alright, Saratoga race 1 in the books, and of course the one horse that I left out of my trifecta to win. A very good win from Money Changer, who held the lead for much of the race, was challenged by my pick of Fleet Martini, but Money Changer got to the lead and took it. Money Changer the winner. A Fleet Martini will finish in second, and I believe fast closing on what was a dead rail yesterday, but what is not today. Battle Midway, who was last halfway through the stretch, will finish in third. I will have prices for you when they are available. But it was the 3 Money Changer, Todd Pletcher, and Javier Castellana, the other Pletcher runner, that will take the win. Now the pick 5, and I'm out of my trifecta. Whatever. We go on. Thought it was a very good run by a Fleet Martini. The favorite, Zamjar, just didn't show today, just tired in the stretch, that cut back in distance. And another favorite falls at the Graveyard of Champions. So there's more than just live racing today. We also have some stakes action from Saratoga, the Sanford Stakes, which is race 3 today, and the Diana Stakes, as well as the Coaching Club American Oaks, that is tomorrow. The Sanford Stakes, the road to the Derby, finally starts here. The Sanford Stakes probably is not going to have a Derby runner out of it. Usually the winners of Sanford don't come back to win well. But we'll see what happens here. The Diana, the return of Miss Temple City, and Dacita is also coming into this race. Dacita, remember, Dacita was the one that beat Tepin last year here in the Boston Spa in her North American debut after running in Chile. And what was an upset, and I believe at the time was a track record, if I remember correctly. So Jacita coming in here, who just loves Saratoga, and of course, tomorrow 6:18 p.m. Eastern Time, the Coaching Club American Oaks, and that will be featuring the great champion Songbird. So let's go through those stakes races just shortly now, as we have a little bit of break before the next race from Saratoga. The first race of the 3 stakes is the Sanford Stakes. I'm not going with a shocker here. I think Random Walk definitely is going to take well to the track. Random Walk was pretty good in his workouts last time out. Has a lot of early speed, going 5.5, now extending to 6 furlongs. I don't think that's going to hurt Random Walk just ran away last time at Belmont on June 3rd over a pretty good company of maiden 75s. Definitely towers over this field in class and towers over this field in speed. The only other horse that I could see possibly come up there is the other favorite, Bitumen for Eddie Keneally, but is a mineshaft horse, and mineshafts take time. So I'm going to leave that horse off. I think Random Walk in this third race is going to be ultra live, ultra impressive, and hoping for a good show from him. And so Random Walk will be my single in what would have been my single in the pick 5 if we made it past the first leg. But Random Walk, my choice, not going anywhere. Any shockers here in the Sanford. Now I do want to update you on race 1 at Saratoga. There is an inquiry going on. As soon as I have more information, I will let you know. But there is an inquiry going on at Saratoga in race 1. Although they are taking, it looks like they're going to take the photo of the 3 money changers, so it might not affect the winner, and it doesn't. The inquiry sign is down, still unofficial, but money changer the winner, a Fleet Martini second, and Battle Midway third. Just got official prices when they are available. But back to the racing, the stakes races. The Sanford Stakes, again, I think Random Walk has it. I'm not going to go anywhere farther than that. I just think it's going to be the class of the field here, the speed of the field, and that is just going to be where I'm going with that race. Could be a pretty good 2-year-old going out. Super Saver, I think going forward probably will be better suited towards the slop. It's a Super Saver. Super Savers do run well on mud. And I think he could just become a mud-related horse, as many of these young 2-year-olds end up doing. The prices are in from the first at Saratoga. Money changer the winner for Javier Castellano. 760, 410, 290 is the payouts for your winner. A Fleet Martini was in second. Going on is the Diana Stakes. And the Diana, I'm going with an upset here. I don't think Miss Temple City is going to win. Miss Temple City ran well when she went over to Royal Ascot and just ran behind a Freak and Usherette. But other than that, it's not a horse that I really would think could rebound off of that travel. She usually doesn't put together 2 really good efforts in a row. She runs well, but she doesn't like travel. She raced at Saratoga last year, because she ran at Ascot. And so when she went to Ascot, she raced in the Coronation Stakes, a Group 1 event, a little bit tougher than the Duke of Cambridge that she faced this time around. Finished 4th to Urvedja and found the eventual Breeders' Cup Turf winner. And so returned in the Lake Placid at Saratoga off an even longer layoff, but was second. Setentio Italia, who raced last time and just absolutely was a star-studded turf filly last year in the Naira circuit. So Miss Temple City doesn't really like travel, doesn't usually put together 2 races in a row if she has to travel. So I'm going against her here. She's good, but not going to be my top pick. I'm going with Decida, who I mentioned earlier, beat Tepin last year here at Saratoga in the Boston Spa, which was a shocking upset, her first time ever in North America after a long layoff. Was previously racing in Chile, won the Los Oaks Carlos Hernas Stakes, a Group 1 event back there. So then she came here, Chad Brown took her over and just absolutely just shocked the world there and cruised on, and one of the only horses that actually was able to beat Tepin once she started this just dominating run. She did win last time out at Belmont, going 1.25 miles here in the New York. She goes back to 1 1/8, back down to 1 1/8, a distance that she hasn't run at here in North America. But in between 1.16 and 1.25 miles, I think she'll be fine. And then I'm going to use Wakila behind the 2 of them as my third choice. Wakila now third start off of racing overseas. Going for Chad Brown here. 2 seconds, just has been improving, finally getting to what she needs. Lost to Illuminate last time out. Lost to Tepin 2 times ago. I mean, she's not going to beat Tepin, but a very strong effort there. And then Jenny Wiley then just traveled all the way over to California for the Gamely at Santa Anita. Ran pretty well behind Illuminate, but was just second best there. Now going once again, she's been improving. I really liked how she ran in the Gamely, and I think that if she returns to her form that she had back in France, she could take this race. I think it's going to be tough with Miss Temple City and Decida in there. I don't think she'll love the Saratoga turf all that well. I don't think she'll be able to close just on it, but I think she has the skill to do well. She is improving, so I won't discount her. I'm going to include her in my top 3 in the Diana. Looking at some of the other horses in this race, Sandiva is on the rail for Al Shakab Racing and Todd Pletcher, and did have a win in the Marshalls River at Gulfstream Park earlier, but seems to be that second class of turf horse that's going to win those grade 2s, grade 3s, but probably not going to take a grade 1. As for Strike Charmer, who used to be, was expected to be a star after that Bogue win, but just didn't do anything in the Just a Game, just too tough, and faces a lot of the same company here. Strike Charmer, 15-1, probably very fitting for this Mark Hennig trainee. Mrs. McDougal, another one who could be that second flight of turf filly for Chad Brown. That decided to try the Just a Game. Not a bad third, just ran a very even effort, just maybe wanting more distance. So could be a live long shot here for Mrs. McDougal for Chad Brown. I mean, all Chad Brown turf runners are usually live, and usually he finishes 1, 2, 3. So don't leave out this one if you wanted to do a superfecta here. Could come up late to grab a piece of those top 4. Looking at Recepta is probably one that I left off my ticket and I might be a little worried about. Was a good second in the Just a Game last time out. Was well beaten by Tepin and Wakila back in the Jenny Wiley. Just decided to try to chase Tepin to try to get Tepin a tire, and possibly the only way you beat this international superstar. It didn't work. Not surprising. But she also tried the Breeders' Cup Mile, the other filly that was in that race. She just was well overclassed, just had a lot of trouble, and wasn't really a factor there. But she has tried some good grade 3 races, but she's tried to make that jump to grade 1, and she just has yet to. Probably putting her best effort yet was last time out in the Just a Game. Today, puts John Velasquez aboard James Toner does for this daughter of Speightstown, but perhaps not enough. She does have a win over Saratoga, a 1-for-1 at the Spa, so maybe that could be a key angle here, but Recepta probably not going to use on my tickets today. Onus for Shug Magahi. Pretty good efforts, but much less company. Just don't see her making the step up today. Rana da Bacteria, a little bit of a long shot here. Didn't really run well in the Just a Game, but ran pretty well, 3.5 lengths behind Tepin in the Distaff Turf Mile. Been running behind Tepin already 2 times in a row going into the Just a Game. I could see her improving here at 20-1 with Julian Leparoux aboard. A jockey change here for Chad Brown. I know, another Chad Brown one in this race. He could have the trifecta here if Rana da Bacteria runs up to her form that she ran behind Tepin in the Distaff Turf Mile on Derby Day. And the outside horse is Isabella Sings in Diana, and was a winner of the Eatontown at Monmouth Park last time out, but seems like to be a little lower than its level. Paco Lopez is shipping in from Monmouth Park to get the mount. 20 minutes to go until the next race, so we're going to sneak in a little coverage of the Coaching Club American Oaks tomorrow. I'm not going with any shocker here either. I'm going with Songbird. The whole track knows that people are going with Songbird. They canceled show wagering, so there's no show plunge here in the Coaching Club American Oaks. Songbird, absolutely the best filly on dirt in the nation. But now she gets a challenge. She faces some of the best 3-year-old fillies out there. And so this is probably the toughest field that she has ever faced. Now, she absolutely demolished every field that she's faced. She hasn't faced a field that she can't beat. She's undefeated, 8-for-8, trying to go 9-for-9. Faces the Acorn winner, Karina Mia, who could be tough. Does show a lot of early speed and just tries to win and puts in very good efforts. She demolished the field in the 8 bells, winning by 6 lengths. And then just beat not the strongest of Acorn fields, but did get off the tracks, and Catherine Sophia off the tracks, ended up winning next time out. Weep No More is an interesting one. Weep No More was probably the wise guy pick going into the Kentucky Oaks, off of a win in the Suncoast at Tampa Bay, and then just getting up in the Ashland by a neck. So a lot of people thought Weep No More improving. 3 straight wins going into the Oaks. Didn't really do it. So Weep No More, she had a very troubled trip. She was in tight. She kept hitting the rail. She just didn't have a trip that she wanted. She comes off some rest. Javier Castellano now aboard, gets that jockey switch. And she's a mine shafter. They get better with age. She might be better here than she was 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago. I think she'll return to her form and is very live here in the Coaching Club American Oaks. I don't think she's going to beat Songbird, but I think she can run a very, very, very strong second. Underneath, I'm going to use Mo Demore. John Velasquez last was on in the Gazelle. Then she went off and went to Churchill for the Oaks. An even fifth, 3.5 lengths back. Just a little bit of trouble there. Then ran down in class on the turf in the Wonder again. I mean, I'm not going to put anything to that. And then went to the Mother Goose and just couldn't get past Off the Tracks, who just dropped that day with Lewis Bay. But definitely improved off that effort. And Mo Demore for the King of Prussia Stables. Remember them of Princess of Silmar fame. Have this Uncle Mo horse in a very good spot. Todd Pletcher has been training very well and gets John Velasquez to return to this one. John Velasquez did win on debut with her back at Aqueduct on November 15th. So see if this horse can go back to that form. Does have some good wins, although many of them were coming at lower class than this. So it's interesting to see how she will perform here. But I think she's going to sit in that second flight of horses right behind where Songbird, probably where Songbbird's going to be. I think she's going to be a little bit behind the early pace. That's probably going to be set by Karina Mia. And Karina Mia probably out to the front early. So I'm gonna see Mo Demore and Songbird sitting right behind Karina Mia, and maybe Floridora if she decides to show some early pace. She hasn't usually, but she could here, seeing as that might be the only way to win this race. Probably around backstretch, Songbird just going to run past Karina Mia, and I think Songbird's just going to run away with it. So we have 16 minutes to race 2. There is a very good field going. A couple scratches. Scratch out the 9, the 10, the 13, and the 14 here. I remember I used Oscar Performance and Conquest Sure Shot in that pick 5 that I couldn't get past the first leg with. So looking at the first page of race 2, there's going to be 2 pages of entries here. But the one Master Marion for Jose Ortiz and Wesley Ward was 9-5 on the morning line. I think that might have been a mistake there. It's sitting at 5-1 in this very even field here. 5-1 currently on the post. So Master Marion for Wesley Ward and Jose Ortiz, a second place last time out. Now we're going into this maiden 83 on the inner turf. Going from 6 furlongs to 1 mile and a 16th. Wesley Ward's a lot better with turf sprinters, so trying going the distance is not something I really like. If he doesn't think that she's gonna, this colt's gonna sprint, then I don't know if he's going to go routing. I don't know what I want about Master Marion. A good runner, quality road out of a Danehill mare, high maintenance. Get Jose Ortiz to stay aboard. Beat Conquest Sure Shot last time out, but was very tested down the lane. Could improve, but is going to a route distance now. The 2 Conquest Sure Shot for Mark Cassie, the great Mark Cassie barn. Jose Lezcano aboard once again, and just closed like a machine. Was 9 lengths back. Went only to 7 lengths, but went from 7 to 3 past a lot of tiring horses. Was a very good well bet horse, going 6 furlongs, now going up in distance. Could do well. Mark Cassie is very good at getting these horses to continue going on. Second after debut, especially second out of grass. So I'm going to think that this horse is very live to finish in the money. To win, I'm going to look elsewhere. Lucky Lou Powell is the 3. Pretty long shot for Chris Engelhart, coming at 2 races. Improved well last time out. And a little bit of tougher company going up in distance. Could improve going up in distance again, but it's Saratoga. It's going to be difficult. The 4 is another very long shot, 30-1 for the coach D. Wayne Lucas. Was 5th, beaten by 12 lengths down at Churchill Downs last time out. I don't think this horse is going to show anything again today. It's a minesshafter. First time Lasix, might move up off of that, but that's about it. Should take some time to progress. The 5 is the Kitten's Joy for Emmerman Racing, Brian Lynch, the trainer, and Joel Rosario aboard. A first-time starter on the turf, and waiting for this mark. And a very live Kitten's Joy, theatrical mare, divine actress. Beware, beware, beware. One of kind is the 6, the Lemon Drop Kid. One for the Bernstein Stanford. Eddie Keneally, the trainer for Javier Castellano, the jockey, coming out of a Churchill Downs race, was beaten by a half a length. But that was on the sloppy dirt. Goes to the turf. I'll pass on this one. Currently the favorite at 7-2 is the 7 Our Stormin' Norman. And Our Stormin' Norman is by Blaine. Blaine has been a very good sire thus far in his young career. Was second by 3 1/4 lengths last time out. Was off a little slow, but ran well. But that was on the dirt at Churchill Downs. Could perform well on the turf. That has that arch pedigree in the sire side. But I'd like to give him one more race, one race over the turf before I bet him. If he beats me, he beats me. But I want to give that one run. The 8 here is Canesian. And Canesian, Bernardini, first-time starter for Christophe Clement and Manuel Franco. Could be live here, but sitting right now on the top board at 12-1. Good turf pedigree, very high-class pedigree, and coming for the Robert S. Evans barn. The 9 is a scratch. The 10 is a scratch as well. So we go to the 11, Piazza del Campo. 13-1 currently off a 20-1 morning line. Bill Mott and Junior Alvarado. I just don't see a lot. Gio Ponte, love the sire, but don't think it's going to run well. First time turf here. So I'm going to pass on this one. To the outside, the last horse here, the 12, is Sahara Storm. Sahara Storm, a pretty good runner. Looks like a pretty good runner. Doing decent efforts so far. Should move up off those workouts onto the turf now, making its first career start. But some pretty good workouts thus far on the dirt. I think Sahara Storm will improve on the turf. It gets Stormy by a Desert Secret mare for Keith Desarmo, who's very good at getting these 2-year-olds to run. Now he's only been 7 lifetime starts, 7 starts this year for debut on turf for him, and he hasn't won any of them. They've all been with short-priced horses. As for turf starts, though, 227 starts this year. 227 starts for him, and 10% of them are winners. Probably not going to be a winner here, but a 35% clip in the money for Keith Desarmo, so I think he might have one running here. And then you scratch out the 13, right again, and the 14, Everybody Loves Rudy, the 2 MTOs. So I didn't make my choice clear before. I'm going to make my choice clear a lot more here. And should be in. I don't know where my choice is. The image is just not loading. But my choice is the 5 Oscar Performance. The 5 Oscar Performance for Brian Lynch and Joel Rosario. First-time starter. Kitten's Joy. Such a great turf runner. Definitely like this horse. Theatrical mare here. They're both 15% with turf starters and 17 and 16% respectively with first time on turf for hitting the money. I really think that this pairing just really screams grass. If you can't see it blatantly, then you should know this is definitely a turf pedigree. You get Brian Lynch, probably not the best trainer for Saratoga, but has some very good turf stats. 48% of turf starts finish in the money. 43% just in 2016, although probably at lesser, usually with a favorite. First-time starters, he's hitting at 34% in the money, and for debut turf, 25% of the time on 44 starts in the money. The other ones are well over 100. As for my trifecta play of the race, I'm going to go with Oscar Performance, and I'm going to box Conquest Sure Shot. While I don't really love going from sprint to route here, Mark Cassie has a very good horse in this too, so I'm going to go with them on top, box them first and second, and underneath I'm going to use the 1 Master Marion. I could be wrong about this one. Wesley Ward could be right. This horse could be well. I'm not going to just discount him completely, but I don't think he's going to run well. I think a top 3 finish is probably at a third place finish is at most, but I don't want to be beaten by a horse that I keep discounting. Did that last race, didn't work out well. I'm not going to do it this race. Sitting also there in that third spot, I'm going to have the 6 One of a Kind for Eddie Keneally. That switched to Javier Castellano and moving to Saratoga from that Churchill Downs dirt effort could be suited a little bit more to turf. Again, Lemon Drop Kid, I'm not going to say definitely a turf sire. He's decent on the turf sire. The pedigree on the dam side definitely doesn't scream turf at all. That Dixie Union mare. I think it's going to be, the turf's going to be tough, but a lot of these horses are not turf pedigree at all, or just not going to be for this class, so could sneak up there. The outside, Our Storm and Norman for another one from Mark Casse. I think the better of the 2 Mark Casse runners, but switching from the dirt to the turf. Excuse me. And then the 8, I'm going to use Keynesian, who's right now at a price of 14-1. I think Keynesian is very live. Christophe Clement, that first-time starter at Bernardini, very, very good pedigree there. So it's 7 minutes to post. I'm going to be using Oscar Performance the 5 on top, over with Oscar Performance on top with Conquest Sure Shot the 1-2, and then the 1, 6, 7, 8 Master Marion, One of a Kind, Our Storm and Norman, and Keynesian. So that's going to be my trifecta play of the race. As for what else we can talk about, we have 7 minutes to post. I could go through the field again, but I won't. There was a race over in England earlier today that I will want to discuss, and that was the King George. That was the King George V and Queen Elizabeth Stakes. The Queen George VI and the Queen Elizabeth Stakes. I apologize. And Highland Reel was the winner of that one. The Queen had a couple horses, had a horse in there, as did Aidan O'Brien. O'Brien ended up winning with Highland Reel, which really cements Flincher's form. Not that Flincher needs his form cemented, but Highland Reel did beat Flincher back in December in Hong Kong. And so now you see Flincher's form is going to be cemented by Highland Reel, who's starting to turn up and to be a very good horse. That was a Breeders' Cup win-in race for the Breeders' Cup Turf. So it'll be interesting to see Highland Reel come over for Aidan O'Brien to challenge Flincher, who's right now the favorite for the Breeders' Cup Turf, unless something drastic happens in the turf division. Flincher, far and away the best in North America and one of the better ones in the world. And so I'm going to be using Flincher here. So Flincher definitely tops my list of Breeders' Cup Turf. 6 minutes to post here at Saratoga. Right now the favorite is sitting on the rail. It was the morning line favorite, Master Marion, now sitting at 3-1 on the tote. Second choices are at 4-1. The 6 One of a Kind for Eddie Keneally, and the 7 Our Storm and Norman for Mark Casse. My top pick is right behind them at 5-1 in Oscar Performance, the first-time starter for Brian Lynch. They're on the track. Just about 5 minutes to go. 4 minutes to go until the second. I will recap prices from the first. I got cut off beforehand, so let me just go through the prices from the first race at Saratoga while we have some time. And so the first race, if you watched it, Money Changer, the horse that I completely discounted, ended up winning over my top pick, a Fleet Martini. So a Money Changer, $7.60, $4.10, $2.90. Then a Fleet Martini, $4 and $2.90 for place in show, and Battle Midway, $4.20 to show. The Exacta came up $29, the Superfecta $3.80, and the Trifecta $103. Looking for, so those are the payouts from the first race. The second race here today, though, 4 minutes to post, just about. I'm going with the 2 and the 5 here, both very strong. I think the 5 could get there. Another horse I do want to look at, though, is One of a Kind, who's sitting right now at 4-1. This Eddie Keneally runner, coming off that sloppy effort. Lemon Drop Kid, again, I don't think the turf is going to be perfect suit for this horse with the Dixie Union on the dam side, but I could be wrong. But coming out of that sloppy effort, sloppy track effort, a pretty good closer, Corey Lannery. Gets Javier Castellano this time for Eddie Keneally. Could move up well. Getting bet, sitting at 4-1 off that 8-1 morning line, and definitely a threat here. Again, 2-year-olds are very difficult. The 2-year-olds on turf are even more difficult than on the dirt. Where dirt's somewhat formful with them, turf, anything can happen. Oscar Performance, still my top pick. Our Storming Norman getting some money, sitting at 4-1. Now, one of a kind, the 6 going to 7-2, but the favorite still sitting in the 1 with Master Marion. Again, my trifecta, 2-5, 2-5 over the 1, 6, 7, 8. I think it's a very hittable trifecta. I like my top choices. I really think that's going to be, they're going to run 1-2. I think it's going to be Oscar Performance over Master Marion. There's not much to it from me. So I'm sitting there. I'm sitting pretty. I do want to go back to the last, to the rest of them. If I was going to put a pick 4 together, not that I am, but if I was going to, again, I'm going to continue to single in the Sanford Stakes. I'm going to keep my single in the Sanford Stakes. And so I'm going to use the 2 there. Let me bring up my picks for those races. So I'm going to continue. If I did put a pick 4 together, which right now the pick 4 pool is sitting at just under $250,000. 24. Now just jumping over $250,000. But my pick 4, I would definitely use the 2 on the top of the pick 4 in that next race. So I'm going to do 2, 5, and 2. I'll press the all button in the 4th race. I think the 4th race is very difficult. I might throw in the 6 and the 7 in this race, so I might go 2, 5, 6, 7 here. And then the 2 in the 3rd race, all button in the 4th, and I will single the 10th in the 5th. That would be a pick 4 together. If I wanted to actually play one, I won't. But if I was, that would be what I would play. That's somewhat based off of my early pick 5 that I got booted out of, finishing 2nd place in the last race. So we move on. So the pick 4, I would probably say 2, 5, 6, 7 in this first leg. Single the 2 horse in the second leg, the Sanford Stakes. All button in the 4th race, and then single the 10 in the 5th race. Hoping to get a price in that 3rd race. They are stepping onto the turf course now. About a minute to post. The pick 4 pool is just under $300,000. Now just going to $300,000, and it's going to get even larger. Definitely want to be in this pick 4 here. My top pick, once again, Oscar Performance. They're on the turf course, and they're about to be loaded into the gate. So I'll let you listen in to Larry Colmus for now. The race just about to begin. Just about to begin. Good luck. There does seem to be a slight delay here in loading. They're going to take their little time, so I'll talk a little bit more. I thought they were going to speed up, but to get some money in the pick 4 pool. But right now, pick 4 pool, $341,000, just over that. Definitely want to be in. Still sticking with Oscar Performance, sitting at 9-2 right now on the tote. Favorite is still the 1 Master Marion at 5-2. Other ones getting price are the 6 and the 7. Now they're in line. They're ready for the start. Off to Larry Colmus with the call. Race 2 is in the books, and Master Marion and Unbridled Eagle, who were 1-2 throughout, looked as if they were going to run that again, but just out from behind them, surging like a shot. That was Control Sure Shot to take the second race at Saratoga. So a very good win by, Conquest Sure Shot to take the second race at Saratoga. Watching it again, it was pretty much Master Marion and Unbridled Eagle 1-2 surging. They were going. It looked like Unbridled Eagle could go by, and then just Conquest Sure Shot lit up and just went on by. A very good win there by Conquest Sure Shot for Mark Cassidy and Jose Lezcano. Prices when they are available. That's it for the live racing from Saratoga. It's time to discuss a little bit about Del Mar. Del Mar Thoroughbred Club has a very good card on tap for today. 10 races, headlined by the San Diego Handicap featuring Dubai World Cup winner California Chrome. Also on there is a mile turf race for the fillies, the 3-year-old fillies, and that's the San Clemente Handicap, also a Grade 2 race, both offering purses of $200,000. A very even card, a lot of very good fields here. 6-7 horses, some 11 horses in that 5th allowance optional claiming, which is a very big race to try to grab as the last of the pick 5 and last of one as the early pick 5. So Del Mar, definitely one to watch out for. As always, it's really the start of the summer and probably my favorite track of the summer. I really like the Del Mar meet. I'm doing full weekend selections throughout the whole entire meet. So do pay attention to my website for any information on that. So going on for today, some good choices that I have. Here are my Del Mar selections. You can find them with names available online. And there is a photo for the place at Saratoga Race 2. Conquest Sure Shot is the winner, though. I'll review that once I get that information. But here are my Saturday Del Mar selections in the 10 race card. My top 3 in each race. These are before scratches. And so San Clemente is race 7 and the San Diego Handicap in race 9. Both are very good races, but here, and so let's review those, San Clemente and the San Diego. The San Clemente, a mile on the turf, and the early favorite here is going to be Be Mine for Phil D'Amato, sitting at 3-1. I'm sorry, stays in Vegas at 5-2 is actually going to be the favorite for Jerry Hollendorfer. Be Mine will be the second choice at 3-1. And so stays in Vegas, ran a good win in the Senorita Stakes back in May 7th, and then was third behind Chicaboo and Be Mine back in the Honeymoon. Now going back down to a mile, a distance that this horse prefers, could help this Jerry Hollendorfer runner. Alex Solis stays aboard. As for the second choice on the morning line, Be Mine, who's also coming out of both of those races, the Senorita and the Honeymoon, has been improving and I think could run very well here. But Stays in Vegas looks to be a little bit better than those. And look on the inside of that Stays in Vegas, and that's Mo Cat. And Mo Cat ran last time in the Kentucky Oaks, just was absolutely nothing. But look back to an optional claiming race on the turf at a mile. Lost by 1 3/4 lengths. Mike Smith aboard. Lost to a horse that's also in this race, Mirage. Just drifted in, didn't really have enough in the tank to finish. Go back to Del Mar Fall. 2-mile races on the turf. A win by 5.5 and a second by 1/2 length. Mo Cat likes Del Mar, and Mo Cat likes running at a mile on the turf. So Mo Cat's one to think about. And the final order finish at Saratoga Race 2 was Conquest Sure Shot over Master Marion, over Unbridled Eagle, over Lucky Lou Powell. 2, 1, 4, 3. So back to this, the San Clemente Handicap. So Mo Cat is very live going back to turf, off a layoff. Beware for this Richard Baltas trainee, sitting at 6-1 on the morning line, gets Kent DeSormo aboard. As for my top pick, I'm going to go to the rail with Belvar Bay. The layoff since the early part of the year has been really strong here at Del Mar. Skipping over most of the Saturday meet has helped horses become fresh, and fresh has been best. Belvoir Bay easily won second asking here, and first time in California for Peter Miller. 7 1/4 lengths with Flavion Pratt aboard. But that's not the angle that I'm looking at. I'm looking at the Florent Geroux angle. Florent Geroux in a graded stakes on turf, that's one to watch. Third start in this America, second time Lasix was just demolishing the field in the Blue Norther, which has come back to be a very live race. Belvoir Bay will be my top pick in the San Clemente Handicap. As for the San Diego Handicap, which features Dubai World Cup winner California Chrome making his return to the States, last time racing at Santa Anita on January 9th. A very, very good runner, as always, winner of $12.5 million, and I'm not going to go away from him here. I think definitely the winner here. So I'm going to go with California Chrome. The other horses to use here, Dortmund, not a surprise. Dortmund's been very good. I think Dortmund's going to just take it here. Take it to second. May need a race here, so I'm going to be iffy on using him just alone and making it just an ice-cold exacta out of it. I think you got to watch out. Dortmund might need one race before that Pacific Classic, and that's why they're putting him here. That 7-month layoff, but does have a win at Del Mar over the turf at a little bit longer distance, going 1 1/8 miles, not 1 1/16 miles. I think the 1 1/16 miles is more of his wheelhouse. If you looked at an ideal distance for Dortmund, that would be 1 1/16 miles. California Chrome, I think, is 1 1/4 miles. So I think there was a little bit of discrepancy there. As for my other choice in this race, I'm going to go with Win the Space. Win the Space changed to become a very good horse after that Gold Cup effort, was a length and a half behind Melatonin in a race that showed not all that much early pace. And so I think here, going to get a little bit more early pace. The prices are in from Saratoga, so I'm going to just quickly go through those now. Conquest Sure Shot, 15, 660, and 470. Master Marion second, 420, 330. And Unbridled Eagle third, paying $9.50. The Exacta paid $56.50 on a $2 bet. And the Trifecta on a $2 bet paid $8.79. So going back to the San Diego Handicap, Win the Space could be a live one here coming off that Gold Cup effort. Goes into I'm not going to say a lighter class. I think California Chrome is a lot better than Melatonin, or at least on paper looks to be better than Melatonin. But does get a field that has a little bit of discrepancy. That third horse in that field, because you have California Chrome on top, and then you have Dortmund in second. It's a mixed bag here, and I think Win the Space could be the best of those horses. So looking at that, and my best bet actually I already talked about, and that was Belvoir Bay in race 7. As I said, moving up in class after that impressive win in the Blue Norther, and comes in off a 6-month layoff, but has been running very well in the mornings. And finally, gets Florent Geroux in a graded stakes on the turf. My live long shot of the day actually comes in the nightcap there, and that's going to be the 10th race. Holiday Movie, and Holiday Movie was pretty goes from dirt to turf here for James Cassidy. Been running on the dirt. The 4 stars it's a Holland's Holiday Movie show, which is actually a pretty good turf pedigree. And so I'm looking at it, faces a pretty decent bunch and gets a little bit of increase in distance. Has been showing speed and tiring, showing speed and fading. So thus far in these dirt races, going 6.5 furlongs and 1 mile. I think extending now to grass will help. James Cassidy is very good at getting these runners going from dirt to turf to run well at first asking. Maybe not to win, but to run well, and that's all I'm asking out of my live long shot for Saturday. As for Sunday, here are my selections. I have full card picks. You can see all those again at my website. All picks for all of the 10 races for Saturday and Sunday as well. But the 2 features on the day are the Cougar, the second handicap, and the California Dreamin' Stakes. The Cougar, the second handicap, I'm going with my top pick of the 5 Hard Aces. It's a very weak field. It's oddly a field that is lacking any speed. For now, scratched down to a 5-horse field after Opportunity spiked at fever, going 1.5 miles, and all of them are closers. I mean, there's not one speed horse going. I'm going to say Hard Aces is where I'm going to go. I think Class is going to be field. I also think he will do a lot better going at a longer distance. And then he used the rail and the outside horse, Infobedad and Quick Casablanca. They're specialists at long distance, and I think they'll just do fine. As for the California Dreamin' Stakes, that's race 8 on the card, a mile and a 16th on the turf. For 3-year-olds and up, California sired. And my top pick here is Pashki. Not going to use Soy Fett, who's probably is scratching out of the San Diego Handicap to go to the California Dreaming. But I will use Pashki for Peter Miller. A pretty good runner, has been improving. I'm going to use Alert Bay, who is coming out of a win over in Golden Gate, as well as the 2 Ambitious Brew, who's also been doing well and improving, and Flavion is aboard. So those are me my choices, my top picks in those stakes races. As for my best bet of the day for Sunday, it's Aiming Straight in the first race. He's facing a pretty weak field in this opener. The second start off a layoff after a very, very strong finish last time out. Been improving each time, and this horse does seem to hang a little bit each run, but I think Aiming Straight will do just fine here. As for my live long shot of the day, it's going to be It Behooves Me, and this horse doesn't really behoove me all that much. Goes back to dirt after a turf try that it wasn't a bad turf try, but it's definitely not what this horse wants. So goes back to dirt, and was a winner at this distance a couple of times ago. It's a late closer, and closers haven't done too well on the Del Mar dirt, but there is a good amount of speed here, and I think this horse can close and gain some ground late to pick up a few pieces and possibly enter the money. So those are my best bet and my live long shots for Sunday at Del Mar. You can pick up all of my plays at horseracingstation.wordpress.com. The link is below, so you can comment. You can pick up any of those plays. As always, you can talk to me on Twitter at MJTags11. That's MJTAGS11. And I hope you enjoyed. And I will see you next Saturday for more Saratoga racing action and racing from Del Mar. We'll be covering that action. We'll also be talking about the Haskell Invitational, which is next Sunday. So we'll do a little preview of that featuring Nyquist. And we're on the road to the Pacific Classic and the Travers, and soon on our way to the Breeders' Cup. So, farewell. I hope you enjoyed the last hour and 4 minutes with me. Enjoy the rest of the Saratoga card. Enjoy tonight's Del Mar card. And enjoy any racing action that you want to watch today. Thank you. Good night.